Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of our malicious compliance. Can't refund an item bought at 70% off? Fine, give me a cash refund at full price. This happened a couple of years ago at Canadian Tire with one of their Mastercraft tools that often go on sale for huge discounts. We were helping my in-laws clear out old belongings when they were moving, and I found an impact wrench that looked unused with a 2-year-old, probably much older, receipt attached. Father-in-law said that there was always a problem with it, so he never used it and forgot to return it. I decided to try to return it to Canadian Tire since they have long warranties on their products. The CSR looked at the receipt for $60, on sale from $200, and said you can't return this item with this receipt. Too much time has passed and the receipt is useless. I tried explaining there were issues with it, but she didn't believe me. I googled the issues right there, and it came up as a recall item for the exact reason I stated. I showed it to her and she begrudgingly agreed that I could return it as a recall. She asked for the receipt back so she could refund me, and I said no, too much time has passed and the receipt is useless. She glared at me and processed a cash refund for $225 plus including taxes. Next story. Upper management of the sports club fires me and cripples their kitchen. So I'm a professional chef and I have been for a few years, and in Australia apprentice chefs are trained in a sort of college where we learn about 150 recipes. Now many of the recipes are provided to the students in bulky, finicky booklets that you wouldn't really want to take anywhere with you, so I started writing some of the recipes in a separate notebook along with some other recipes I'd learned from coworkers or family members and created a sort of pseudo-cookbook, and I would often bring this book into the kitchen so I would remember ingredient quantities and cooking times, and eventually I would leave the book in the kitchen pretty much around the clock. What I soon found out was that some of the other chefs in the kitchen were using my cookbook to check official recipes for the restaurant we worked for, as typically the head chef would have to tell them, and this got annoying for everyone. And this restaurant was a part of a popular sports club in the local area, so consistency was extremely important to management. As such, having a written record of the new recipes or changes to long-time recipes was very important. As it turned out, management had stopped making changes to the official club recipe book a few months before I even started, so my book became the de facto official recipe book. For a while this was no issue to me and I kept adding new recipes to it throughout the next few years. However, after my third year working there, I finished my studies and became fully qualified as a chef, so I suddenly became more expensive to keep on as a staff member, and as such management started looking for any reason to replace me with a new apprentice. Eventually they found someone to replace me and gave a half-assed reason for firing me and told me to take all my things and leave as I could no longer offer what they were looking for, so I took everything I owned and left, including the notebook with all the club's recipes. For a few days not a whole lot happened, but slowly the club's reviews started complaining about bland food, dry cakes, inconsistent classic recipes and every other food-related thing you could think of. At one point there was 50 negative reviews in a single day, which for our town was a massive amount of negative reviews in one day. It felt pretty damn good since I felt they deserved it and left me unemployed on short notice. However, I was quickly offered a new job by a smaller restaurant whose owner knew me from the sports club kitchen. The malicious compliance. After about a week I received multiple calls, and after answering one I heard one of the higher managers at the sports club asking if I could return the book as the kitchen needed it back. I obviously laughed and said firmly that it was my book full of my recipes, so it wasn't going anywhere near them, reminding them that they had told me I could no longer offer what they were looking for. The manager clearly began to panic as he offered to get me my job back and just let bygones be bygones. I already had a new job, so I completely brushed off this offer and ignored him. I hung up pretty soon after that. I started putting the recipes from my book on the new restaurant's menu, and it was beginning to attract a few regular customers of the sports club, so I quickly found myself with more and more responsibility and command within the kitchen, to the point that about a third of the menu was from my book. Now the slow trickle of sports club regulars picked up speed after about 3 months and led to several high-level managers from the club deciding to visit the restaurant I'd helped build and virtually demanded I give them my cookbook, claiming it would be much more beneficial for the community if they had it. My head chef laughed in their faces and told them to piss off. It's been about 2 years and my head chef and I have a very positive relationship, and the customer base we have at the restaurant is better than ever. We didn't take every customer from the big club, but it was enough damage to their profits to scare a few investors away and also lead to a decent bit of damage to one of the higher managers' reputations. Furthermore, the recipe issues and negative reviews lead to the majority of the kitchen quitting, and according to one of my old colleagues, they cited the lack of support and organization from upper management as the final reasons everyone was quitting, and this lead to an even larger dip in the quality of the restaurant food. I also get paid significantly more at this restaurant than I was at the sports club. Next story. Job wanted work shirts back. When I quit, they received a pile of muddy ashes. Back on February 23, 2014, Sunday, I was driving home from going clothes shopping for my new job I was starting in a week when my car literally caught on fire with me and my then 4-year-old son in it. I had just bought $200 worth of clothes and my laundry was in my car from the laundromat, including my work shirt and white lab coat. I had already given my notice to my boss that I was leaving, and the next day, Monday, I called in to tell her what had happened and that I would not be in due to smoke inhalation issues and needing to go buy a new car. This was supposed to be my last day. She decides to tell me then that I needed to return my 3 work shirts and both lab coats or I would have the costs garnished from my last check. I told her that they were a pile of ash at the salvage yard. She tells me I have to bring them in. Okay. Will do. Insert eye roll and a certain finger flashing from my side of the phone. Tuesday, I walked in with a picture of my laundry basket melted in my car and a Ziploc filled with ashes and mud. I recorded myself giving them to her and telling her again what happened. I got a side eye and a WTF. I walked out with a smirk. Asterisk edited to add that I'd been at the new job now for 10 years in March. Best move I ever made. Also, my wages never were garnished. I don't think they legally could, but who knows. Next story. Won't let me work from home? Okay, I'll fart up the office. This could also probably go on AITA. LOL, I'm usually able to work from home, but I go into the office 1 day a week. One of the side effects of a medication I'm on is uncontrollable gas. This is one of the less serious, but more annoying and hilarious side effects. Lately it's gotten pretty bad. Since I usually work from home, I asked if I could WFH on my office day, figured I'd spare others and only subject myself and my dog, who can hold his own gas-wise anyway. I just said it was because I was having side effects but kept it vague. I could hear my boss sigh. She said, "You need to come in today. We have some new people starting and I told them you would do a meet and greet. And it would look bad if I wasn't there." I didn't think that's a good enough reason, but she kept insisting, so I took a pill to try and stop the gas and went into work. Gas pill wears off at 10 a.m. I managed to meet the people and it's fine, but then I'm informed that I'm expected to stay in their class and shadow the training. I'm guessing that's the real reason my boss wanted me in. At this point, try to get a private moment to tell my boss, a classy lady who wears pearls, that I be fart in. But alas, she was whisked away to another meeting. So, the first few times I had to fart I tried to excuse myself, but it became so distracting me going in and out of the room that eventually I just decided to let it happen in this room of about 10 of our newest hires. Someone must have told my boss on lunch break because I got a PM that said, "Okay, you can go home." Don't know what other fallout to expect from that, but I'm at home with my dog right now just gassing my place up. Next story. Old boss told me to contact his lawyers. So I did. Just quick disclaimer. This is a burner account, because my real account gives away where I'm from and who I am, and if anybody I know see this post, I will be easily recognizable. So this started some time back. I got fired from my job due to an injury, and had to be hospitalized for a significant time. In my contract it stated that if had more than XXX amount of sick days in a 12-month period, I could get my contract terminated with 1 month notice. So that happened, and because I contacted my union. They told me it was a legal termination, but they asked about a specific part of my contract, which was about my commission. Turns out I've missed out on some special commission during my employment and totally missed it when I read my contract when I got employed. Can't really get closer to which kind of commission due to my anonymity. My union advised me to contact the boss, show him the part of my contract, and proof of the missing commission and try to get a settlement. I was looking for what is equivalent to €3,000. I went to see my boss, and started with a nice chat. After about 10 minutes, I brought up the issue, and showed him my contract and showed him that I've never gotten the commission stated in the contract. My boss told me straight up to contact his lawyers, and that we were done talking and told me to leave. Cue malicious compliance. I went home, looked every paycheck through and set up a meeting with a lawyer. We found a lot of small mistakes on my paychecks and summed it all up. We sent an official letter to his lawyers and got an answer from them a few days later. Now he was willing to settle for first amount, equivalent to €3,000. I smiled and laughed. No can do, Mr. Bossman. Not anymore. Now I want the full amount. Which is equivalent to €10,000 plus pension plus 15% in damages plus all the legal fees. And I have proof of everything to back up my claim. Due date of the court. And guess what? He lost big time. I'd now planned a nice vacation and still have more money than I asked for in the first place. Next story. You don't want to wait patiently for 30 seconds? Then you'll be forced to wait patiently for an hour or more. My dad, 64, has always been a patient man back when I, 32, was younger. But lately, his patience is getting thinner than my receding hairline, lol. Maybe it comes with age, but please do correct me if I'm wrong. He gets frustrated easily on things even if it's a normal everyday moment like long lines, like traffic, waiting for people even if he's early on the time of the appointment. I hope I got my point across. A while ago, I called my supplier to order some copper wires to replenish our stock as I'm doing inventory. We own a small contracting firm. My dad told me to drop what I'm currently doing and drive him somewhere before we go to our supplier to pick up the goods. As I started the car, our supplier texted me to message the said orders for confirmation purposes and to avoid any errors. My dad immediately blurted, "That stuff can wait, let's go." Me, "But Dad, this is from our dash." Dad, somehow irritated that. Can wait. Let's go. Me, "Okay, whatever you say." When we arrived at our supplier's store, my dad was surprised as the receptionist told him that we didn't order anything as they didn't receive any confirmation from us. Annoyed, Dad told me, "I thought you already called them to order?" Me, "Remember the text that I was replying?" Yes, it's the supplier asking for confirmation. You can't wait for 30 freaking seconds for me to reply, you'll be waiting here for 30 minutes or so for it to be done. Ending, we waited for more than an hour as there are a lot of orders before they could process ours. He's annoyed as hell but doesn't have any choice but to bear the consequences of his impatience. His torment worsened as he can't change the channel on the TV as it shows a sucky afternoon drama. Me? I have my portable game console with me at all times. Time passed like a breeze. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.